there's been a situation brewing between Ice Spice, surrounding Ice Spice, and this girl, Cleotrapa. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to tell like some of the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell like the summary, but you can go into details because I didn't watch all 10 parts of the video.
Okay.
They were like 9 minutes
They were
long
long.
each.
They were long.
But basically, as you probably have all heard in the Twitter, in the social media, TikTok, Instagram, all of it, basically Cleotrapa went on tour with Ice Spice, and she just had a lot to say about her dislikes as far as touring with Ice Spice as well as Ice Spice. And it's caused a lot of controversy on the net. And I feel like people are picking sides and they're picking Cleotrapa's side.
Oh.
And I saw today in an article, I don't know how true this is, but today I guess she lost like 540,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
Ice Spice. So I don't know, again, I don't know how true that is, but I just feel like that's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
So can you give some insight on what you saw, what
Yeah.
you read, what you heard?
So I watched I listened to Cleotrapa's. I listened to like 5 of the 6 parts, and I think most of the last part. But I was doing my makeup, so I was just like, before I was like just scrolling through it and letting her talk or whatever, tell the story. So I feel like, well, in the story she talked about how obviously she went on tour with Ice Spice. Ice Spice told her the day before, like, oh, just come on tour with me, I got you, type thing, right? So like on a friendship type thing, which is like, to me, like mistake number 1. But so the girl said she only had a day to get everything together, and then she went on the tour. This was her first time ever going on tour. She'd never been on tour before. And she was like, she kind of feels like Ice Spice, and I guess Ice Spice's, label and whoever was planning the tour or whatever kind of was like sliding her, because Ice Spice's security like didn't want to take her bags out of the venue in Philly, and she ended up like talking to Ice Spice about it, kind of like confronting her about it, like, hey, how come your security didn't take my bags? And Ice Spice was like, he's my security, not yours. And then she was like, oh, well, how much can I pay for, like him to take mine too, type thing? And Ice Spice was like, he is on a flat rate, like type thing, like just shut it down or whatever. So the girl was like basically saying, like, she was like, okay, I presented my problem, and Ice Spice didn't really want to hear it, or like kind of had a problem with it. So she was like, I'm not going to bring it up anymore or whatever. So the girl was basically then continued on, saying different things about how like they were staying in 5-star hotels every night. The girl wasn't allowed to bring anybody with her. By the time she got to like a certain city, I think it was like Chicago, which was, I don't know how, it was like a 30-night tour or something. By the time she got to Chicago, her manager was able to finally come with her, join her in that city. But the manager thought that she was going to be able to be on like the tour buses, and they said that she couldn't be on the tour buses. So the manager was like, I'm not going to like, be basically not able to even like be with you, type thing. Yeah. So the manager left and like didn't continue. And then it was like just different things. Like she was saying she had to pay. She was like, they were staying in 5-star hotels every night. She's like, so I had to pay for that. She's like, which originally I thought I was going to be staying with Ice. And then Ice Spice's makeup or hair stylist let the girl Cleo stay with her. So she was staying with the makeup artist or whatever, like in her room every night and stuff like that. So it just was like kind of like, and the girl Cleo also said like every time she would go to like the different venues in the different cities, every time she would go in, it felt like, she's like, even though Ice was the one that invited me on the tour and told me like, oh hey, I got you, like she's like, every time I would go in, it felt like nobody knew where I was supposed to go, or like she's like, they wouldn't have like a dressing room ready for me. They'd be like, oh, you could get ready in like this bathroom, and she's like, it was like the public bathroom and stuff like that. And so she just was, and then
with the regular people,
right. That's how she was kind of making it sound too, which is kind of like, but she was just like, also one stop was like, she said it was like in Texas, like in the middle of nowhere. She's like, we're staying at like a Best Western, like that's how in the middle of nowhere it was. And then she said that her and the hairstylist were basically talking to each other, like, when are we gonna go eat? Like she's like, there was like a McDonald's like a mile down the road or something like that. And she was like, we were like gonna go walk to the McDonald's or whatever. And she's like, and we we're like thinking like, oh, when is anybody gonna like mention eating? So she said that they went downstairs to the lobby, and it was like Ice Spice's like boyfriend or whatever. I don't know if it's her boyfriend or whoever she's with. his like friends were down there and stuff like that. And she's like, they were down there, and then she's like, we're just asking them like, oh, are you guys gonna go eat? Like, we want to go to the McDonald's. And they're like, oh no, we're not hungry. And like everyone was saying like no. They're like, oh no. They're like, and they were like asking different people like, we're gonna go like to the McDonald's. Like, does anybody want to go? Type thing. And they're like, oh no, we're not hungry. And she's like, come to find out, they had all went to a steakhouse and didn't tell her or the makeup artist or the hairstylist that they had all went.
They're like, you're broke.
They're basically like, you're not in the budget.
Ooh,
you know, like they
that's-
basically were like, she's not in the budget, so that's why they didn't like invite them or whatever. So it feels a little bit like petty,
Yeah.
right? Like kind of. And it does feel like, well, the girl was taking everything personally, which I kind of understand. Like I can somewhat understand. But I think that there's two sides to every story,
Right.
which is,
That's
or actually
true.
3 sides. I always say there's 3 sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth.
Right.
But there's, you know, there's also like Ice Spice's side. There's also the label side. There's, you know, whoever was there. So like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to take it. I feel like I can't take sides because I wasn't there and I don't know every detail. But just based off of what she was saying to me, it didn't sound like it was like a personal, like petty thing. To me, it sounded like Ice Spice got rubbed the wrong way when she brought up the security thing and then was kind of like mad. Wow. Even without the guys here, we still doing that.
Right.
I think that she was like, her feathers got ruffled. Is that still pause or wow?
Oh no, it's not.
Okay, so I think that she
so
didn't
funny.
like it. Let's say that she didn't like that she was like confronted or whatever, and then she just was kind of like upset with her the rest of the time, is what I think. But they never like really talked about it again until after the tour. Then the girl texted her like big old paragraphs and stuff, and they were like went back and forth and stuff like that. And Ice Spice said she was ungrateful, basically.
That sucks. First of all, I think that it's like things get messy when you do stuff with your friends. But you kind of like, I had mentioned that prior to the pod, about like, you know, she probably took it the wrong way when she said I got you. She probably thought like everything was gonna be free and stuff like that. But I think that if you know that you're a smaller artist and you're an opener, I feel like if you've been to concerts, we've been to plenty of concerts, and you can visually see that the openers don't get the best, like
they're like a second-rate citizen. Honestly, they just get thrown up there, like
right, with no backgrounds, no dancers. They don't have any. Sometimes it's literally just them and the mic.
Yeah,
and
the lights are not even.
DJ.
Yeah, like the lights are not even off yet.
No.
A lot of the time.
No, they are off. They're just dark. It's dark. No, but I just feel like you don't get a lot of things when you're on the stage. So I think that should have been the first assumption, and you shouldn't go into those type of things ignorantly. Like, I wouldn't, if you had told me, hey girl, I got you, I really honestly wouldn't assume, even though we're so close, like I wouldn't assume that you're paying for every single meal, every single, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just think that that's just very ignorant to like think, oh, she got every single thing. Cause like, you start to feel a way when you feel like people are paying for everything for you. You're just in like, I don't know. Have you ever like been somewhere where you just like, you gotta wait for them to like be hungry, and you gotta wait for them to like, you know, they're paying.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's just that's being broke. And I just feel like, why would you want to go somewhere when you know you're like not?
I know. I feel like the girl's argument was that like Ice didn't tell her that, but I also feel like she didn't ask.
Right.
Like, because I would have asked, like,
Me
what
too.
does that mean? Like, you got me, like, what does that mean? Like, tell me what I have to cover for myself. Like,
Right.
you know, kind of give me the bill. I always tell all my friends that, just give me the bill.
Right.
Like, tell me what I owe, because
right.
like I'm not gonna be sitting here not knowing and just saying yeah to a month. And she was saying it was like a month of hell. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean?
Right.
A month of my life where I don't know what's happening the next day, and I don't know what I'm supposed to cover and what I'm not.
Right.
So
it was just a lot of miscommunication, I feel
Yeah,
like.
I
But I
agree.
feel like people are taking Cleotrapa's side and not really understanding like the music industry and the fact that like the label's probably paying for everything and everything is probably already budgeted. It probably just so happened that like maybe they had an opener who couldn't do it after all, and she just reached out to the girl. And again, I'm assuming, I don't know anything about anything, so maybe she just reached out to her, was like, thought of her, hey, come on tour, got you, girl, here's the biggest opportunity of your life. I'm just kidding. I don't know if it is. And again, I've never heard of this girl, so maybe she does have like her own little following and stuff like that. And but I just think that like to walk into it blindly, and again, she only had like a day, right?
Yeah.
Too. So I don't know. I just think that she should have
done her due diligence.
Yeah. And it's a lesson learned.
Right.
Seems like they're not dealing with each
Yeah, I
other,
don't
so she
think
probably
so.
don't have to worry about that one and going on tour with her again.
Right.
But yikes.
Right.
That was yikes number 1.
Yeah. Do we have anything more to say about this topic?
I don't think so. It just gets messy when you like do business with your friends and don't establish any like boundaries.
Yeah.
Anything. Like,
I agree.
I just think that sometimes you gotta let your lawyers figure it out contractually, and that's like the best way to work, so that you don't have to like you don't have to have those awkward conversations if they are that awkward for you.
I agree.
But yeah.
Well, I had told my mom, I don't remember why we were talking about it, and she was saying like doing business with family is like kind of like murky or whatever. And I was telling her, I feel like family or friends, I feel like if you aren't able to have like hard conversations with people and like walk away and come back and still like reconcile and still like be like on good terms with each other, like without getting like super offended, like then yeah, you shouldn't go into business with people that you can't tell anything to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Without you both getting your feelings hurt and like never wanted to speak again and wanted to fight, and then like we don't even talk anymore type thing. Like if you're able to have hard conversations and like recover, then I feel like yeah, you can go into business with those people. But if you can't, you probably just shouldn't. Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Like just save your relationship and don't do it.
Right. I agree.
So
I'm mad right now. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Well,
no, yeah, that sucks.
It does
for everyone involved.